Hello guys, I'm Su. It's been a while that I haven't made any videos, probably 2 months, and that's precisely the time that I'm back in China. Actually, I have been living in Guangzhou, and I have enjoyed life so much here that I hardly had time to make new videos and upload it on YouTube. Um, Actually, I did make some videos, but in Chinese, and I only uploaded it on Chinese Bilibili. Um, it's really a very big change for me in my life that I feel like I traveled from hell to heaven. In the sense of that, when I was in the Netherlands, I was already radicalized, and I was in a very bad mood, and my mental state was not stable, and I kept hearing news like the Chinese around me received terrorist attacks from local white Dutch. Um, but when I came back to China, to Guangzhou, I suddenly felt like I entered a very good state, a very healthy state, in a very happy mood. Um, Everyone is so friendly, and everyone is so peaceful. And there's a lot of culture everywhere, and a lot of activities everywhere in the city. It's this dramatic comparison is so huge that you feel like you travel from city of Sodom to city of God, literally. Today I'm not going to talk too much about academic topics. Um, there are many things going on nowadays in the world, in the Middle East, in Ukraine, in Europe, in America, and also in China. The funny thing is, it goes exactly as most top Chinese intellectuals expected. The West itself cannot see the madness it's doing and the desperate direction it's going to. The Chinese intellectuals see it very clearly. Um, there's a classic Chinese saying, um, you don't see the full picture of a mountain, and that's because you are in the mountain yourself. Europe will be completely impoverished by the war with Russia. US dollar will fall, and Israel will drag USA into the shit in the Middle East that the US will never get out of. When US reaches its desperate point, it will try to make war around Taiwan against China. But China will not attack Taiwan. North Korea will make the moves. When US becomes mad dog and attempts to make nuclear attack against China, China will block all the US nuclear missiles. When China attacks back, none of those Chinese nuclear missiles will be blocked by the US. But wait a minute for a second. I'm talking about geopolitics, right? Does it have anything to do with ordinary people? Of course. And you have to know that China is not only hated by the puppets of the financial oligarchs in the West or by the Western governments, but also hated by all Western people. Why? Because China will decolonize the whole world. And the white people will have no slaves ever on this planet. Ever. When the global south stops being slaves to the West, the only slaves left on this planet are the Western people themselves. Because there's only one social form throughout the Western history, throughout the so-called feudalism, capitalism, whatever. It's called slavery. Slavery has been the only form of Western society for thousands of years. When the new slaves stop being slaves, the only slaves left are the old slaves, which are the white people in the West, to their own oligarchs and to their own church. This is how Western mind works. This is how an ordinary Western mind works. I had enough experience in Europe. I understand the mindset of Western people. I once had an interesting conversation with a Dutch guy from gemeente, from Dutch gemeente. And he was telling me that there are many problems that in the Dutch society. For example, he knows a Dutch woman who applies for vrijwillige, for volunteer jobs in Africa to offer some help in an NGO in Africa. But the funny thing is, the reason she does it, it is not because that she feels that she really wants to help people or she's so altruistic or something. No, it's because she has many problems in her life, many problems that she feels like her life is hell and she cannot deal with it. She gets so many mental problems and so much hatred and she cannot handle her life. She's almost on the brink of mental collapsing. So she wants to travel to Africa to see someone is in a worse situation than her, that suffer even more than her. Then she feel happy. It's like, see, there are someone even worse than me, that suffer more than me. So I'm happy, so I don't feel so bad about myself because there's someone who's suffering even more. And I can even pretend that I want to help them, but I don't give a fuck about them at all. I just want to pretend. But deeply in my mind, I'm nothing. And this is exactly the Dutch guy from Dutch gemeente told me. It's a Dutch gemeente guy. It's not an immigrant who make up these stories. It's a Dutch gemeente guy who told me this. This actually explained to me many things. For example, I don't see racism in the West as really the Western white people see other races as inferior to them. No, they just pretend that they think in this way. They just pretend that. The truth is, the white people in the West are so jealous of minorities. They are so jealous of minorities, of the freedom they have, of the genuine humanity, genuine human happiness they have. It makes them so jealous of them. Because these white people in the West, despite of all the material gains, all the luxury material life, they don't gain happiness. They don't gain humanity. They are extremely selfish. They are extremely jealous of people who have a bit more than them in something. When you really understand the mentality of Western white people, especially the so-called racists, you actually feel sorry for them. Deeply in their mind, they feel being abandoned by God. They have a feeling, it feels like they are the only one that is not chosen by God. So they try to claim the opposite by projecting. They claim the opposite. They say, we are the only one chosen by God. And all other races are inferior to us. Something like that. You don't see many discussions about the topic that I was just talking about. That's because the Western medias, including the social medias, are all controlled by this interest groups. So basically, I'm just saying hi today to my old friends from YouTube channel, and try to provoke some people from the West, like I always did. I will only start to talk about serious topics, probably academic topics, in my next videos. And today I just want to show you that I'm where I am and how I am doing. And in the end of this video, I'm going to show you 2 videos I took in Guangzhou, because I'm very relaxed, I'm very happy in Guangzhou that I travel to all the streets, all the regions, all the areas, because it's a very huge city. There's so many people, so many different cultures. There are ancient things, so many ancient buildings, ancient streets, ancient residential areas, etc. In the first video, it's a street called Beijing Street. And it's a very famous tourist area, and you can see many shops, and the small restaurants on the street, with very friendly people. And the second video is where I took in a place called Yongqingfang. They actually perform Chinese classic opera for free. And it's very interesting. I really enjoy it nowadays. It's completely different from Western opera. I was a big fan of German and Italian opera 20 years ago, but nowadays I'm not interested in those things at all. I become very obsessed with classic Chinese opera. I've also been playing table tennis a lot, and sometimes badminton nowadays. And I can make more friends here in China in one day than 8 years altogether in the Netherlands. Okay, guys, enjoy the videos, and see you next time. Bye.